fantastic because it is about to be fantastic. The just lines will be coming your way later on with the ones and twos, the threes and fours, Wheels of Steel, making sure uko sawa sawa. Have you watched Volume? It's a Kenyan series on Netflix. One of the main characters will be right here. And you pia ujue how Volume was produced. Venye kama Volume iko sawa. Oh yes.
And then you started a trend last weekend, last Friday, where we had some beautiful faces in the studio. And I'm wondering what's happening today.
Oh yes. I'm making sure wako sawa sawa.
Watakuwepo.
Wako sawa sawa.
They'll be joining us very soon.
Oh yes.
And Gashambi will be joining this crew very soon. Do stand by for that. Even as you continue looking at the headlines this morning, and a quick run through the dailies. The Daily Nation leads with 48 hours, moments to tragedy. Matters to do with Kelvin Kiptum's last days. On the Standard, the good matters HIV pregnancy tests land Kerry in trouble. And of the Pulse banging hot. Okay. Kwenye gazeti la Taifa Leo, uajiri kiholela serikalini. A lot to do with the human resource management in government. Still on matters KRA, on the People Daily, hiring shame at KRA exposed. They call that a scandal. We'll be telling you why. On the Business Daily, KRA drops 133 recruits after pregnancy and HIV tests. Matters government human resource management on the spot on all the local dailies this morning. We'll be looking at these and a lot more headlines later on with a news analyst. Do stand by for that. We'll also be discussing this. We'll be hosting the Deputy Government spokesperson Gabriel Muthumba in studio to look at some of these issues that the government is facing. For now, what else can we talk about? Oh yes, and most definitely we do expect quite a lot. This concerning the whole diary. President William Ruto will be taking a look at what is expected. The whole KMPDU, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union strike really happened yesterday. There's a whole hot and cold of it. We'll be keeping an eye to see if this will continue. And Major, actually, Deputy Governor of Kisii, Dr. Robert Monda, has been impeached. And just to get the sentiments from the Kisii residents as well, and even the members of the County Assembly, just to get to understand what their feeling is. The governor, Simbarati, has about 2 weeks to source and look for another deputy. Meanwhile, so we will be seeing, also how the political landscape of that county will be playing along. That is just among the county diary for you. We didn't get a chance to go through the daily the headlines in Uganda and Tanzania. A quick run through. The Daily Monitor in Uganda leads with Isimba Dam to shut down for repairs. That's a big headline in Uganda this morning. The other page, the New Vision, the other daily in Uganda, leads with something else. Best A-level teachers. And this is something we said Kenyans should actually be taking a trend on, where you actually don't just applaud the students and best performing schools, but the teachers as well. That is big news in Uganda this morning. Let's get into Tanzania now. Yes. Pombe. Gazeti la Mwananchi. Pombe. Konuku energy drink zinavyomaliza vijana. And so this kind of headlines are really also they relate with us. We relate to whatever is happening there, because even in Kenya, you're talking about alcohol and the whole drug menace, and they talk about matters energy drink. So that's a whole plot twist in that country. Oh yes. On the Citizen, revealed factors behind life expectancy increase. You realize that in Tanzania they're really focusing on health and issues to do with the betterment of the human being. In Kenya we are so much used to taxes and politics, and in Uganda they focus a lot more on education matters as well as corruption in their parliament. Oh yes. Well, that's just a quick run through of what's hitting the headlines and what people are talking about across this region this Friday and heading into the weekend. Oh yes. So even as we wait for the ladies to pop in, can begin with a few of the newspaper reviews and just to take a look at what is in these dailies. All right, we could start off with the Daily Nation now. Let's delve into this paper and take a look at the big story. The Daily Nation has focused with the 48 hours. The last 48 hours of Kelvin Kiptum, who was buried 2 weeks ago. And they talk about moments to tragedy, a solo afternoon at Talek's Inn Bar and Restaurant. Then they go ahead to give a chronology of events. what happened before he drove his car to that fateful crash along the Eldoret-Kaptagat road, and which ended up with him losing his life, as well as that of his coach. Another story given prominence on the front page, standoff striking doctors' rubbish mediation call. And there's still a lot of confusion on whether or not the strike is still on. Doctors downed their tools across the country yesterday. Some did, some are still working, but you can get all the details there on that story, which also features on the back page of the Daily Nation. And of course, yes, relief at the pump as fuel prices drop. For the first time in a very long time, we're paying for fuel at less than 200 shillings a litre. So it is exciting for many motorists. At least when you get when you have 1,000 bob, you have at least 5 litres of fuel, which means a lot, because you've been getting about 4 litres, 4.5 litres, and yes, that is on the very top strip of the Daily Nation this Friday. Other highlights on the front page of the Daily Nation: CS Kuria's job offer to Maribe lifts the lead on state job malpractices. We'll be asking the deputy government spokesperson to answer to this, as well as that issue on KRA, which is on the Standard.
Oh, yes.
And yes, you could go ahead and take a look at the Standard.
Now, the Standard HIV pregnancy tests land KRA in trouble, and they say barely days after suffering a court setback on skewed staff recruitment, KRA is finding itself in a tight spot after MPs called for an inquiry to investigate the anomaly and why it subjected job applicants to HIV and pregnancy tests and disqualified 133 who turned positive. That is on page 8. Wow. This is one of those times that you tell Siri, play My Land is Kenya.
Yeah. These are serious questions that need to be answered as well on the government's human resource management.
Oh, yes.
One, what is happening with KRA, and what is happening with the hiring of individuals into the public service.
The highlights on this paper, on the bottom: Rip Rivers fuel prices fall on stronger shilling, lower global cost. And they say Kenyans get a slight relief after cost of fuel fell for the 5th consecutive month, with a litre of petrol down by 7 shillings and 21 cents, that of diesel reducing by 5 shillings. But will the drop translate into cheaper commodity prices? That's the biggest question that Kenyans now really want to know. When they walk into a supermarket, they really want to see unga prices to have come down. On the right, why it is key to prepare for Holy Month and Ramadan Kareem to brothers and sisters. Before I take a look at the pulse, on the top strip, pain for patients as doctors down tools. So the Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Akumicha says her ministry has money constraints even as health services grind to a halt in public facilities countrywide after doctors went on strike on Wednesday night. And away from that moment of truth, Raila to know fate as AU organ meets on page 6. And now on a paper that I told you the ladies are coming in. And this is one of my favorite bits there. Is the pulse. They say banging hot. Probably what we are looking at right now.
All right, yes, and we can see the ladies are in studio now. Good morning, Bansi and Gashambi.
Good morning.
Good morning, friends.
It is Friday. The weekend queue is here.
The weekend queue is here, and it's definitely a beautiful Friday if you see the ladies.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We love seeing you in studio every Friday.
Yes. Oh,
it's something to look forward to.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So what are the highlights this week? What is your biggest highlight this week, Gashambi?
My highlight for the week. That was definitely, I'd have wished to hear yours.
Oh, there's so much I could talk about.
Good morning, Nyaringit. I don't know why he's not suited up.
Good morning.
As you are, or I don't know why you're
Friday.
suited up.
It's Friday.
That could be
for me, it's only for Friday.
Okay.
If you see me with a suit on Friday, then probably going on a date.
This is how seriously I approach my weekend.
Anyway, my highlight for the week, or what really made me, my highlight for the week was, there's a feature I'm working on, and I can't wait for our viewers to get to watch it. And we went to Pumwani Maternity Hospital for an interview, a few interviews here and there. And after the interviews, first of all, I was surprised by how you know, the infrastructure and how clean the hospital is.
Pumwani Hospital.
That Pumwani Maternity Hospital. And growing up, I don't know if I should say this, in Arabia when I'm buying someday. But growing up, my folks, I mean, we were not rich, but my folks they ensured we were comfortable. So we went to good schools, went to nice hospitals, and I never got to experience a public hospital. So already I had a notion. And then Pumwani Hospital, at that time, they didn't have really good PR. So I was really shocked at how clean it is. And after the interviews, the deputy med soup was kind enough to, you know, take us around. And these guys have a breast milk bank. It works the same way a blood bank works. So, and it's the only one in Kenya, in both public and private hospitals. So moms who have excess or who feel as if, you know, who feel philanthropic come and donate. And then it's taken through the whole process, you know, pasteurized, screened, whatever. And then it's administered to babies whose maybe moms don't have milk, or, you know, the moms who die giving birth as, you know, a prescription, which I found really cool. And also the mortality rate is really, really
Did you get to visit the nursery?
0.1%.
Did you get to visit the nursery where the newborns are?
Yeah, we did. We did.
How is the feeling there? The babies, I'm told, are so many.
No. Actually, contrary to
babies,
public opinion, you see, they even say they share beds, you know, mothers share beds. There were a lot of empty beds, funny enough. There were quite a couple of empty beds.
Things have really changed.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, things have really changed.
For the better.
And the staff there is also really kind. Before, when I went for a pre-production meeting, before I even introduced myself and told them who I was, they were treating me really nicely.
Okay.
You know, so I was like, kudos, Pumwani. There's a lot
nice
of bad
experience.
PR. I think they need to work on that.
What about you, Bansi?
I
What's
think
your highlight?
Gashambi's highlight is top highlight. And you've made me question what kind of week I have been having. But I think it's just a fun fact that I figured out this week. I've really started becoming a lover of real silver and real gold. And interesting.
Who are you walking with out here?
Previously,
It's called lanes. I know, it's called lanes.
Yeah, real silver and real gold. And I just found out a very interesting fact that gold and silver is not magnetic. So when you go to buy either and it's magnetic, then it's fake.
Wow.
So I'm curious. The earrings you're wearing, are they fake?
Can we just major on the topic, on the facts?
Focus.
I know.
If you have a magnet, we can confirm. Yeah, but I think that was an interesting fact to find out. And this week, the entertainment, or rather the music industry, might be celebrating because there's a chance that the world boss, Mr. Vibes Cartel, will be freed.
Ooh, so that.
Yeah.
Nyaringita, your turn.
Oh, yes.
Highlight, apart from gym.
It actually has to revolve
That's
around
your
that.
highlight. If it is, then do it.
But my highlight was I was in Ronka and kwenda pale for gym and everything. And I was with my producer. Alafu, vita ikaanza. But then now, so here's the whole backstory of it. So outside this particular, the whole Ronka Square, it's around 3 p.m. I think that was the day before yesterday. So we're done with the whole, workouts and everything. So we're just outside here and we hear a whole, melee, chaos and everything. People shouting, "Uwa huyo, uwa huyo." So they were actually now chasing after two guys. So it's alleged that there's two guys that stabbed a lady at the neck. And then, so one of them was caught, ndani ya pro box. The cops were actually there. So now the other one was trying to escape. So they were trying to run after him. But finally, the cops...
Did they steal from the lady?
Now here's the whole twist. Ngoja story Geshambi. So the guy was caught. And so, because everyone is angry, why did you do this? Why did you do this? So they're trying to, beat him up and the whole mob justice and everything. The typical Kenyan thingy. Now, when you're going to ask each and everyone, because, you arrive minutes after everything has happened, and you ask everyone, nini imefanyika? Like 5 people, everyone has their own different story. This is what happened, this is what happened.
Kenyan style.
Yes. So for me, even as a journalist, it's a whole citizen journalism kind of bit of, huyu amekupakia story ya, sijui ni mwizi, sijui akafanya nini. The other one has, sijui alikuwa na cheat. Mwingine sijui, huyu alitumwa na sijui akina nani. Kidogo bedhe tungesikia wao ni sijui FBI walifanya nini. Oh yes. And now I wish by the way our producer angetupatia the videos.
Oh, you have videos?
Oh yes, there were videos.
Okay.
The journalism in us, she was at the forefront of taking everything that was happening.
That's a story that needs to be told.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
All different
Alikuwa pale everything, just capturing everything. So at the end of the day, really trying to actually get to know what happened. But then we didn't really follow up from the police for what actually happened. So I think that is my highlight of the week.
Okay.
Fred?
For me, I think it's the kind of insults that go around on social media. For the longest time, whenever you do something on social media, especially X, you're told to unfat. Yeah?
Oh,
now, yesterday I discovered there's a new insult. That whatever you do, or if people don't like what you said, they tell you you're fatherless. So look at this fatherless person. And I'm wondering, what has that got to do with anything? I think that's my highlight. I've learned a new insult from social media, and I'm still trying to look for how to use it this coming weekend.
If you're fatherless.
Yes. And that's my week. Those are the highlights we have this week. And probably you can also share with us your highlight for the week through our social media pages on X at TV47 News and on Facebook, TV47 Kenya. What stood out for you this whole week? Today is Friday. We can be sharing those stories.
Oh, speaking of sharing, I've seen Bansi with a card there, and she promised me cake.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
I have a beautiful card right here in my left hand, and it's courtesy of Valentine Cake House and TV47. And of course, we are giving you a chance, you back at home, to have an opportunity to win 1 kg free cake, courtesy of Valentine's Cake House. And guess what? If you're a lover of pastries, baking, then Valentine Cake House is definitely looking for you. A whole week of free training. Gashambi, what do you think about this?
Yeah, you're probably wondering how you can win this voucher or the bakery classes. Retweet the posters as much as possible. Today, we are getting our winners from X.
Yep.
Okay.
So watu wangu wa X, do the thing.
Do the thing. As you also tell us your highlight of the week, I think the best highlight gets a free cake. Yeah.
Which poster maybe? Because we have a couple of... So do they focus on one poster or...
Let's be biased. Let them retweet ours.
Okay.
Look for our pictures.
Wapunguze tu kwa X, wapunguze matusi, wa retweet.
You retweet, quote retweet, interact with us.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Hashtag Feel Good Friday at TV47 News on X. At Nyerungita_.
At Fred Indimuli on X.
At Gashambi Nderitu.
At Miss_Kimuyu.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Oh,
Let's
yes.
take a break. And when we come back, we'll be looking at the dailies with our analysts this morning. With me, Freddie Ndimuli. Time for us to take a look at the headlines. And this morning, we're privileged to have youth policy analyst David Ndungu in studio for our news review. Good morning, David. Karibu sana.
Good morning, Asante.
Yes. This whole week, we've been talking about how different the headlines look.
Yeah.
The newspaper headlines, this week especially, or probably the last couple of weeks. And we've seen, and I think we're so much used to a lot of political news on the front pages. It's either Ruto or Raila, Raila or Ruto. And that is what we've seen for the last, since the election day.
Yeah.
But then over the last 2 weeks or so, things are changing. We're talking more about taxes, human interest stories. I remember in one of the days, the Standard, which is a very political paper, even had a story about murder, a love triangle on the front page as a main headline. And I don't know if you've noticed that. And where do you think this trend is coming from? Is it simply because Raila Odinga has taken a back step over this AUC job?
No, not really, because you see, sorry, you didn't even let me greet my
Go ahead.
my viewers. First of all, thank you for inviting me here, and also I want to greet our viewers and be appreciative of the chance that we have now. But to your point is, you see, there's a question you must ask as a Kenyan: to what benefit is your politics? You see, in 1965, Kenya used to loan countries that are in the Eastern Asia money. Koreas, all those people. If you look at Korea now and look at us, the difference between us and Korea is politics. So I'm happy that we don't have politics on our news.
Do you think it will last? Because it's only been happening for the last 2 weeks or so?
The thing is, we are dealing with a grandmaster of politics, which is William Ruto. And he knows how to kill and activate politics. So I think in the last 2 weeks, we have not had fodder for, you see, that politics in kubishana.
The president, I think, is also slowed down a bit. He's not really out there. He's not making statements the way he used to, like a couple of weeks back. Are you saying it has nothing to do with this Raila AUC, or that rather what they call the handshake of some sort?
Still goes to the question of what use is our politics. Because how much can we do politics?
Okay. Because
and how much can we work to make life better?
I'm looking at the dailies this morning.
Yeah.
And fine, the Daily Nation has decided to chronicle events, the last 48 hours of Kelvin Kiptum's life. This is very odd for the Daily Nation to choose. It is a good story, yes, but this is the kind of story that usually is hidden in the inside pages. And the front headline is usually reserved for more political headlines. So this is the kind of story we're talking about. Of course, the standoff as doctors go on strike also features, and then the relief at the pump for motorists. So yes, matters to do with the politics have been probably taken to the back stage for a while. Do we see this sustaining?
Yeah. I think so. What we are saying is, if I was in a chance, if you had the physical papers,
yes, and we still
I could have trashed 4 of them and remained with the Kiptum one.
That's the kind of story you want to see.
No, not really. It's just because of respect and the honor that gentleman had done at 24, and what he had achieved at 24, and what he was poised to achieve. I would have trashed every newspaper apart from that one. But the point is, we keep asking ourselves, with the current trend, every 5 years we have an election. The first year after election, we do not work. Raila is doing mandamano or someone is doing something. The last year, we don't also work because we are doing politics. So you only have 3 years to work. If you look at the president's term, thank you, he's only been in power for 18 months. So these are the working years, the 3 years that we have to work, because you've lost 1 year with mandamano and trying to do hardcore negotiations. Now we're into the working years.
Okay.
So if you ask me whether we are going to sustain this, yes, we will be. But it will depend on Kenyans to absorb the mood of the state.
There are those who argue that this kind of approach, fine, probably it's one way of Kenyans trying to recover from Raila's possible exit from the political scene in as far as pushback on government policy, because Kenyans have always sat back and waited for Raila to be the main government critic, to raise questions, to expose corruption and such like things, and that this time round there seems to be a vacuum with his absence, and so probably the conversations are changing because of that.
What is wrong with corruption? What is wrong with corruption?
You're asking what is wrong with corruption?
What is wrong with corruption?
What do you mean?
What do you think?
What is wrong
What
with
is
corruption?
wrong with corruption? No, I'm not asking in bad faith.
Are you saying we should condone corruption?
I think it should be put in the budget.
Really?
Oh yeah, as a young person, I think corruption should be budgeted for.
Should that really be the kind of trajectory we take as a country?
Not really, it's just that Kenyans are not sincere with their own feelings. You see, we talk about corruption as a bad thing, and yet you'll bribe a cop, and yet you'll bribe your chief. So what's wrong with corruption? So I don't think it's just that politics is an issue right now. Because we have 3 years to go. So why do you have to do politics, yet we have to compete, we have to pay debt, of which the president is doing. We have to do fertilizer, the rains are about to come. We have to do many things, right? So why do we have to talk about corruption? And Anon, why do we have to talk about politics? It really doesn't matter.
Let's stay away from politics and take a look at, because I'm even struggling to find any political headline.
There's nothing political right now, yeah.
If we look at the Standard, they talk about HIV pregnancy tests landing KRA in trouble. It's about the recruitment exercise that KRA engaged in at the beginning of last year, sometime last year. It was a recruitment of about 1,400 or so young Kenyans. This has become subject of a probe by Parliament, and through that probe, it has emerged that 133 applicants were actually dropped after being forced to go through a mandatory pregnancy and HIV test, meaning that the results of those tests is what disqualified them from employment by KRA. This is the first time we're hearing of such a process, especially in recruitment to government, where you are subjected to a pregnancy or HIV test. And it raises serious questions, because this is discrimination of the worst degree, don't you think?
You see, Fred, your people call me a youth policy analyst. I'm not a youth policy analyst, but I'm also able to adjust to youth issues. As a young person like I am, you think my wife is not pregnant, or my girlfriend is not pregnant. See, I'm trying to. So I find fault in trying to push away people because they're pregnant, because they have HIV, because they have syphilis. I don't know, but the thing is that should not be anything to gauge a person in terms of qualification. Because as a young person, what are you expected to do? You're expected to give birth. So are you being discriminated because you're pregnant?
Yes.
It is bad. HIV, what does that have to do with your ability to work? So you can take your madawa and continue with work. So I think, I don't know what happened, but it should not happen.
What does it say
stigmatization, I guess,
about the approach even to young Kenyans by government, especially in terms of recruitment? Because many Kenyans are looking for jobs. They already have to struggle with their academic qualifications. Now, when you place issues like pregnancy and their health, HIV status as one of the issues that could disqualify someone from work, that raises some serious concerns, especially given the kind of unemployment rate we are facing.
I think at the same time, you're asking me many questions.
Well, we're discussing.
Let me answer them.
You better answer them. That's why you're here.
Thank you for the team. Forget whatever KRA is doing and forget whoever a recruiter is doing. Let's talk to young people, because it's Friday and it's for youth people. You see, the president the last 1 month talked about una type computer in Taptengele. The thing is, for young people, you cannot use an old map to go to new lands. That means you cannot pile around KRA and waiting for those jobs. You cannot ati unamaliza shule alafu una print your CV, then you're looking for your tamaki. The thing is, there are new and innovative ways of doing things. If systems call you out of HIV and pregnancy, you still can work from home. You still can work from Taptengele. You can do, I get disturbed because, and I don't know who reads newspapers anymore, because I wonder where the innovation is. Because if you're training so many young people and so many young people are graduating, you cannot offer all jobs. KRA jobs are for people with referrals. And NYS jobs are people with referrals.
Are you saying you cannot simply just apply for that job from...
you can apply, but I'm asking you is, I'll ask even young people, so what are you doing applying for a government job? And you've been educated. So why did we fight for independence? You're independent. You've been given paper, you've been given internet, you have airtime, and you have your parents and money and space. Why do you have to apply for KRA?
We're talking to Kenyans who are struggling and don't have jobs.
Struggling is also a mental condition. Yes. It's a mental condition. Because if, for instance, Fred, I have been to university. I have around 3 degrees right now. I'm doing my master's in law. What am I doing applying for a government job?
What about those who are not as lucky as you?
Government only employs 800,000 people. What about the other 40-something million people? Everybody is employed by themselves. If you look at the companies, if you look at the national data, the last 1 year, 4,000 more companies, private companies, have been registered. Meaning there's confidence in market. Right now, I don't even have to call my cousin. I only associate with my friends who we are working with to make life out of. So much to say that the thing about HIV pregnancy is stigmatization. It shouldn't happen. But also, to young people, don't look for new lands using old maps.
Don't focus on the
don't focus, because we live in an independent Kenya where you can do anything.
Okay.
Right?
Now, questions about the government's HR policy and HR management are mostly on the front pages today. One, what is happening with KRA. The other one is on Taifa Leo. Naongelea kuhusu uajiri kiholela serikalini. And masuala ya PSC, that's a Public Service Commission, ya kosoa mawaziri wanaoteua watumishi bila kufuata utaratibu, huku ikimkana mtangazaji Jackie Maribe. Jackie is probably just one example. But since the government took over and the cabinet was named, according to this report, a number of cabinet secretaries have employed a lot of people, over 250. That's the number they've given, without necessarily going through the processes of the Public Service Commission. And that's a question people are asking. On one hand, we're talking about KRA stigmatizing job applicants. Now we're seeing another process within the same government where very many hundreds of people are employed, but not through the proper process. It raises questions about even how are they being paid?
The thing is, Fred, no government comes into power to govern. Everybody who comes to power, they come to accumulate. Right? So whoever is in power will accumulate. That means that accumulation might mean that I'm employing my people. Right? Because you see, we are not like Europe. But then, did you notice my shoes?
I've not had a chance to look at your shoes.
I'll show you.
Are they from Europe?
No. These are normal tafis. The thing is, see, our politics is local. So if I promise people jobs, what am I meant to do? So people are going to go there.
But in a government office, because without the proper checks, because yes, even when the president needed to appoint CAS as the ones that were blocked by the court, the nominees still had to go through a vetting process by the Public Service Commission. But these 250 who are being employed, no one knows whether or not they're simply relatives or friends of the CSs. And that's a question.
I know that what the dailies are not telling you is that these are Kikuyus and Kalenjins. Who is the deputy president? Which tribe does he come from?
Do you see a problem with this sort of approach?
Yes, as a young person, yes. But also, pragmatically, no. I don't see.
It should be okay.
So you go and look at the... You know what I mean? That's why I told you, corruption should be institutionalized. Because it is something that we try to deny.
Does it mean therefore that if I do not have a relative who's senior in government, then I should forget about working for this government or getting a job?
The thing is about young people, don't look at government jobs. Work for yourself. Create your own company.
But if you get an uncle or a relative...
If you have an uncle who is in government, please take care of that advantage. Because that is how life is. You must be pragmatic enough to discuss those things. Don't discuss them from a moral situation. It is what it is.
Are we saying that we've lost all morality? We should not...
We never had it in the first place.
We should not base any of our decisions on morality.
We never had it in the first place. First, capitalism was not built on moral basis. We are in a capitalist democratic space. What do you expect? Morals are not going to apply. They are not going to apply, Fred. I might want to lie, but I want to share independence to young people and tell them, you have everything. Your parents told, they are employed in government, you're taken to university, you're given first-class treatment. From nursery to university, you're picked by a bus. What business do you have going to what your father is doing in government?
But what about those people who have not had that advantage? They come from a humble background, probably they are not able to pursue probably university education. They're just looking for any opportunity that can help them. Kujisitiri tu.
Umeona jamaa mwingine ameasha a high schooler mwenye ameanza kugenerate electricity out of a waterfall. The thing is, we, as young people, you're also being lazy. It is true. And lazy is not that you cannot work. Lazy means that you've gone to uni, you've done everything, but then you're thinking the old way. Same thing as using an old map to new lands.
Okay. Tell us more about now what the youth should be doing different, because I hear you're saying they're using an old map to new lands. What should they be doing different?
Just, you see, you can have KRA today, tomorrow you can have another place, but the basic thing is about competition and innovation. You see, our education system, when we were growing up, I always was number one. So my job was to be number one all the time.
You didn't say
But again, when you look at education, you have to think, what is it doing? Is it making me competitive or making me innovative? And I think even with the CBC, it's making you more innovative and more capable to do what you can do with your own hands, to do the most that you can do with your own life. So advice to young people is that education is not about competition, because even my first class doesn't matter. It matters what I do with what I have. So let young people, and I would advise them, let them be more innovative. Who created M-Pesa, for instance? It was a young person. See the revolution it has caused? We have opportunities to disrupt even existing systems. What do? That you want to pile and be employed as KRA clerk. What are you doing there? Right? There are people who work from home and they drive Audis and Mercedeses. Why? Because you've found a way to be innovative in education.
Okay.
The second point about it is also collaborations. I mean, when you talk about national independence and even politics, everything is about an alliance. UDA is an alliance, Jubilee was an alliance, whatever, NAC was an alliance, everything is an alliance. So there's no way you're going to school with a person who you spend a lot of time with, then you graduate and you disperse. Create cohorts, groups, right? Exchange ideas, create apps, create systems that come to solve problems.
You feel that is what is missing?
Yeah,
especially
young people, when I say they are being lazy, it's not that they are lazy particularly, it's just that they are lazy in their thinking. You know?
Do you think the education system currently, or what we've had, is encouraging this laziness you talk about? That probably the system was geared towards preparing people for the workforce that's there, not really to innovate?
And see, that's the problem. You go to a school and the lecturer or the teacher is more interested in marking you wrong or right. But they're not interested in finding out other things. Look at a guy like Jenga Karume. If you were to mark him using papers, could he have become what he was? No. And these things exist in history. That's why I say people are lazy is because they don't even go back to history. You ask a guy who is 20 years now, born in 2004, ask him who Matiba was. They will not be able to refer to Matiba. It's because we are lazy. We don't look at history. And we don't even, and history doesn't have to be political, all those being Malcolm X stuff. It is, even in your own family, who made it without what they were given? One thing is hard work, is keeping yourself conscious. And 3, most important, is creating collaboration. Look at how Kikuyus from Murang'a became billionaires in Nairobi. Why do you have Murang'a Road or not Nyeri Road or anything? Because guys from Murang'a used to come and 7 or 6 of them would live in the same kadogo room. Then they would wanachangana. So ukiona Sabina Joy, Wapi, everything is owned by Murang'a people. Why? Because they used to collaborate, and those things about history don't change.
Collaboration.
I mean, there's no way, Fred, as a young person, I'm doing political science, right? And I'm in a class with political scientists or future political scientists. And then when I graduate, I leave. I'm trying on my own.
But there's this culture where
it's a bit twisted.
The young person wants to be seen to be doing well, but he wants to be seen to be doing better than his peers.
Individually. Yes. That's why I said education has become more competitive than innovative. Right?
Do you see that culture changing?
It will change out of course, because if you're being left out because you're pregnant, who is meant to be pregnant? See, the young people. Old people don't get pregnant. HIV, another story, but I'm asking you, who is meant to get pregnant? It's young people. Why do you deny jobs to young people because they're pregnant? Who is meant to get pregnant? Why are you giving these jobs to old people?
So the system is already not for them.
The system must adjust also in a way or another. And that's why I think, as a young person, I'm not happy with that, you're locked out because you're pregnant. Who is meant to get pregnant? Is anybody who is from 14 years. By accident or by design?
Well, 14 may be too young according to our laws.
But I'm telling you, a 14-year-old can get pregnant.
Can. No? Biologically they can.
So if you're locking people because they're pregnant, who is meant to work? Are you giving these jobs to male? You see, you have to analyze, if you're pregnant, it means many girls have been left out. Why are you locking out girls?
Okay. Back to our education system, because so many questions have been asked about this system and its effectiveness in feeding the job market. Many people want to join universities. Universities, even the public ones, have become very expensive for so many people. And one may wonder, should the people still focus on seeking university education even when it really is just increasing the burden to them or to their guardians or parents? Should they opt to liberate themselves economically away from education?
The thing is, have you ever seen a learned fool?
What's your description of a learned fool?
A person who's gone to school but they know nothing. I think the system right now, out of competitiveness, we are getting a lot of learned fools, and we're killing talents. If you look at okay, let's just be simple. Let's go to content creators. The best of them are not the most educated. No. The thing about innovation is that you give young people a platform. Don't structure them. Just tell them, just frame them. In your learning stage, do what you want.
Leave it to them.
Leave it to them. I think, and this also goes to family things. You see, as parents, what we do is that you and I, when we meet, I'm gonna tell you, oh, my child goes to Peponi, and you'll be feeling bad because my child goes to Peponi, right? Then it becomes a competition between us. If your child knows how to play football, and mine knows how to play basketball, instead of us creating a community of sportsmen rather, what do? Me, I shield mine, you shield yours. These boys are meant to interact from a young age, right? Those girls. So it's a whole, this system is completely corrupted.
You keep mentioning family, because the place of family is also key.
Yeah.
Are you saying that that's where the problem starts?
Yes, you see, in sociology, family is the most important unit of socialization. Who influences you the most? Is it not your family? What they feel is what you want to do. So if we structure it from family, and I'm saying, even at family level, let's allow randomness, right? Because being young is being stupid and being random. And what is stupid ends up becoming very smart. A guy who sat in a university room and said, oh no, see, we have Simia Jamii here. Me, I'm in a place called Taptengele. I'm calling a guy in Nairobi, telling them, send me money for fees, right? Then a guy in KU decides, okay, they are calling, communication good. They're asking for money, money takes 2 weeks to come. What am I going to do? I'm going to create something to, instead of this call taking 2 weeks to be effected, if I call you, and when I call you, you can send me the money in 1 hour.
Instantaneously.
So the guy comes up with a solution. That's what I'm inviting young people to do. Don't go to be employed as a clerk. You start as a clerk at 20 years. You'll be promoted at 30. If you misbehave, you're fired in midway. Create your own innovation. Government can only hold so much.
And we'll be hosting the Deputy Government Spokesperson, Gabriel Muthuma, on this set to talk about the government's HR policy and the kind of issues that are arising in its HR management. As we wrap up, Bwana Ndungu, a quick look at the other headlines away from HR issues is a doctor's strike. Now, we are at a time when we're transitioning from NHIF to SHIF, and there's so many issues, and right now doctors are on strike because they want intern doctors to be absorbed by government. It's another HR issue as well. 4,000, you can imagine someone who's gone to medical school and finished, and he's now an intern, and that's the only way to get employment, and the government is still not able to absorb. Now, what do you tell this person? They've actually gone and gotten this education. The one thing they know how to do is becoming a doctor.
Becoming a doctor. Wow. Is it devolved?
Yes, it is devolved. Health is a devolved service.
They have funds.
Who? The national government?
No, that's the devolved government. Have they been given funds? See, the funds were increased. Was it last week?
Well, the increase in funding
for county government,
or the 42 billion shillings they got.
See, they got an extra. I think, let me tell you, Fred, as we wrap up, the problem we have right now is all constitutional. You see, this constitution is a very expensive constitution. It's an invoice. When you're given, a president achukua hiyo katiba na kisu. It's like being given an invoice. And I find it a bit disturbing when people compare Kibaki, Moi to Uhuru and Ruto. What you don't know is that Uhuru and Ruto are running a very, very heavy invoice. Look at Kibaki. How many MPs did he have? How many MPs does Ruto have? Did Kibaki have senators?
Okay.
Did Kibaki have women reps? Did Kibaki have governors? And all those things that come. It's a very, very expensive.
And that's where the problem starts.
It's just that how sometimes you want to buy a toy for your niece, but you'd rather buy fertilizer for your grandmother.
True.
So what do? It's just a matter of time. But I get the issue with doctors. Doctors are special people, and they know doctors and lawyers are the same. They run a monopoly of experts. So they know if they down their tools, nobody else can do what they do.
Oh, yes.
Because they're licensed, right? It's like a driver.
Yeah.
So if God will touch them, they'd better negotiate. I don't think they'll get what they want, but they can also, they should also get something. I know medical space, there's a time I was on a field trip when I was in Uganda, in university. Then one of my friends got an asthma attack. We were in Uganda then, we were meant to travel back to Kenya. Hey bro, so you went to a hospital in Uganda? You come to Kenya and you hear what the lady was talking about Pumwani. Hey, you're in London.
Okay.
You're in London. I think you're not doing badly. And as I would say, things are not as bad as they seem.
Okay. It's simply a human resource management crisis that the government is facing with the hiring of intern doctors, hiring of care officers, as well as absorbing new staff.